Greetings to you all, and welcome back to Let's Play Advance Wars. What do we have here? Orange Star Forces, if I'm not mistaken. So, we're about to challenge this chap to a battle whose name we don't know. Interesting, he talks about the Blue Moon Army with incomplete knowledge. That's a clue, a tip for us. This guy is not Blue Moon. This guy is not Orange Star. Is there any other way we could possibly have realized that he was neither orange nor blue? Now, knowing all of the nations of the world, including all of their names, given that one of them has green in the title, who could this man be, and who could he fight for? We may never know. Unless we open the menu, then we probably will know. Let's test our theory. His name's Eagle. He's green. So this is probably your second contender for best CO of the game. Generally speaking, his passive ability... But by the way, Andy's passive ability we've never discussed. Andy's passive ability is no real weakness. In other words, he doesn't have one. Get stuffed, Andy. Alright, so Eagle's special ability is that his aircraft are stronger than normal, but his navy is weaker than normal. Pluses or minuses, that's always the way. His special ability, however, is terrifying. So any non-infantry unit, anything mechanical, gets to take a second turn when he uses his superpower. That is bonkers in a turn-based game. They're a little weaker in their second turn, but still. 2 turns? It's nuts. There's a little bit of lore for you if you're interested. No one's interested. Let's go. So I shall start by destroying this little pest on the road as really insignificant. And then we shall talk about this new enemy that approaches us. What is this thing that I'm circling? That's right. It's the Teacopter. Short for Battlecopter. This thing is a helicopter that has 2 different types of weapons. It has rockets, missiles, rockets, I don't know. And it has a minigun. If it shoots against infantry, it uses the minigun. If it shoots against anything mechanical, it uses the rockets. How strong is it? Probably about as strong as a tank, roughly. The minigun is about the same as the minigun on a tank, or just infantry. Not particularly powerful, but it's very, very mobile, as you would imagine. It can move so many tiles, it can fly over any terrain. It's one of my favourite units, I must say. So what's it weak to? Well, it's weak to anti-airs. Observe. And when I say weak, I mean it gets annihilated. I can't realistically go up here, can I? No. Ooh. That's intimidating. So hopefully in this battle we'll get to see the missiles in action as well. Missiles are... Hang on. Not those missiles. This is a missile. It is the artillery of anti-air. So can't hit the ground, even though... Look at those things on the side. It looks like they should be able to annihilate anything. They can't. They can only attack the skies. But they are the artillery of the skies. Well, I guess the rockets of the skies because of their range. But you get my point. Sure, supply. Why not? This is a Teacopter, short for Transport Copter. It's an APC in the sky. It can't resupply units, so it's not quite the same as the APC. It can only transport, but it can go further, and it can go over water, etc. Do we want to buy anything? No, I'm going to wait. Bring it, Eagle. What do you got? Fortunately for my explanation, Eagle is bringing the rest of the aerial units, This here is a fighter. It is the best air-to-air combat unit, but it can only attack other air units. It can't shoot at the ground. So, very poor choice for this battle. This is what we're afraid of, the bomber. Now, the bomber does attack the ground, and it hits with the strength of about a medium tank. It's actually a little higher than a medium tank, I think. It is very strong, very mobile. And honestly, it's probably your best way of dealing with enemy artillery. But it's also very, very expensive. Observe the missiles. This is the problem with air units. They're very good, very hyper, super mobile. But they're so fragile. Which is good for me. Shooting these just because I can, they're no threat to me whatsoever. They can kill my Copter, that's it. And if they do kill my Copter, then they're going to die in return, so I don't really care. Maybe I should care. My Copter's done for, it's going to die to the fighters, it can't escape. Unless I surround it by units, but I don't care enough. So I'm actually just going to shoot his Copter with my Copter, and then let it die. Do a bit of dogfighting. Don't ask me why they don't use their missiles against other Copters. They also don't use their missiles against transport Copters, by the way. I guess because they're considered light armor rather than full-on armored. That's somehow different in this world. Sure. Eagle really doesn't have much on the ground. I think I can just steamroll him. In fact, we'll go for a tactical victory. That'll be fun. Anyone who's played this game before knows what I'm looking at. I would dare say the level's set up for the tactical victory. You know, I hate you with a burning passion for taking away my tactical victory. So what I was going to do is I was going to transport Copter, some infantry onto their HQ, which is really isolated. And I was going to capture their HQ and win that way. Stop blinking, Andy, it's alright. Got a bit of grit stuck in his eye. Not that grit, the other grit. Yes, I was going to fly over here, well here, and drop infantry here, and then try and capture it before he could react. But he's ruined everything. Just for that. By the way, if you're looking at this and thinking, wow, these missiles are incredible, they do more damage than the anti-airs, they got range, they're fantastic. Yes and no. Remember, the anti-airs are good at fighting light vehicles on the ground, and infantry, very, very good against infantry. So it's not quite that clear-cut. More often than not, you'll find yourself building anti-airs because they're just more flexible. Also, they're a damn sight cheaper. And when the AI gets up a bit, it will position its aircraft out of the missile's range, and they can't move and fire on the same turn, so... not as good as you think. Anyway, we're charging forwards, why wouldn't we? The only thing that scares me is the bomber. But if the bomber ever attacks, it's going to immediately get destroyed. I just need to keep my anti-airs at the front. Honestly, I don't know what I'm doing with this thing anymore, just follow everyone else. If you're wondering why I don't finish off the fighter with one hit point, fighters fly very, very high in the air. This is true of real life as well, so enjoy that little fact. Show you the price difference between these two. You see, even in this situation, I'm going to build anti-air. But fighters and bombers fly very high in the air, so high that your average unit can't reach them. So Copters, that's transport Copters and battle Copters, can actually be shot by the miniguns on the top of tanks and infantry, rifles. Not bazookas, but the rifles. can shoot up. They don't do much damage, but they can fire at it. It's good for finishing off something on one hit point. But fighters and bombers are just too high in the sky. You can't aim at them with anything that isn't dedicated anti-air. So here's Eagle's second turn. Notice it only affects mechanical units. I said this before, but it's a fact. There's a reason why it does that for balance purposes. Could you imagine if it affected everything? You would send infantry to start capturing a building, refresh your turn and capture it again. You could do that to someone's headquarters. You'd be on, half capture, refresh turn, finish capture. The game would be over. So, just mechanical. It does affect tanks as well, which is interesting, considering he's the airman, it's not just planes. It's Green Earth! Good work, Nell, you've cracked the code. The man with his army painted fully in green is actually fighting for Green Earth. We know the names of the nations, it's not a mystery, there's 4 nations in this world. The one we haven't encountered is Yellow Comet, so Nell was sat there going, now is this Green Earth or is this Yellow Comet? For the past 10 minutes. She's finally solved it. Okay, I'll watch out for the air units. Thanks, Nell. You're a waste of space, Nell. I don't know how she managed to get to her position. So anti-air here might not kill that bomber in one shot clean. It won't, I can tell you that. But it will cripple it so much it basically won't do anything ever again. It's interesting how the units are represented. So vehicles and infantry in general, when you have 10 hit points, it's represented by 5 units, so each one is respective of 2 HP. If you go down to 6, you'll lose 2. But certain units, the bigger units, like the bomber, and I think literally every boat, yes, everything in the Navy, and then the bomber, there's probably something I'm forgetting, but that's all I can remember right now, are represented by one big unit that has 10 hit points. Now, if you're thinking, does that mean a bomber with 1 hit point is as powerful as a bomber with 10? As in it can do the same damage, because there's still the same number of aircraft in the sky? No, that's not the way the game works. The game is looking at the numbers all the time. The way the game represents this is the bomber drops fewer bombs when it has less HP. So the bomber drops 5 bombs that represent its 10 power. So now this bomber has 1 health left. It will only drop 1 bomb if it attacks. But you can actually play this game with the animations turned off. It's all just based on the number. Say 1 bomb. And despite how it looks, there is a difference between 10 and 9. Even though both situations look like you've got a full fleet of 5 units, it's different. It does 10% less damage. I guess they just thought it would look a bit silly to have all 10 units on both sides of the battlefield, and they're kind of right, it would be a bit overwhelming, I suppose. So this is the point where I would just hop over here. But that's been taken away from me. He doesn't have anything to fight me, does he? He's got a tank. Where can that reach? Nowhere. So besides his power, another reason why Eagle is so good is because his weakness is to his naval units. And as you may have noticed, ain't no one fielding no navy. His land-based units are okay. There's nothing wrong with them. They're decent. They don't have any advantages, like some other commanders' ground-based units. But Andy's power is no weakness. And Eagle also has no weakness for his ground units. Eagle is a very frightening CO. By the way, this thing is completely useless now. I don't have the ability to build any air units. You can't build air units from a base. You can only build ground units. You need a helipad. Is it called a helipad? No, I think it's called an airport. In order to field aerial units. You still can't reach anywhere, can you? No. APC to block helps protect this guy. The anti-airs are still good because they're strong against infantry, and they're okay against tanks. They're useless against medium tanks, but they're okay against tanks. They'll do about 20% damage. I'll talk more about damage percentages and things later. I don't want to overwhelm you with information in the opening videos. We've got to save something, or I'll run out of stuff to talk about. Pace ourselves. It's the only way. Okay, here's my elaborate plan. What on earth is he doing? He's lost his mind. No, it's okay. It's not to resupply that missile, I assure you. Damn it! Okay, attacking you then. One thing that I always thought was strange, you can only fit one infantry into an APC. You've got this massive box on wheels, but you can only fit one infantry into it. Then again, it has infinite ammo and fuel for any other vehicles that want it, so maybe that takes up a bit of room. My army of anti-airs are looking questionable. But look at how they rip infantry apart. Look at that. So the idea here is that we force Eagle to stand on a square that is vulnerable to my artillery. See, he's going to stand either here, 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 depending on what he wants to do with his medium tank. He has no safe spot to attack me from. Which means in the following turn I'll be able to counter him with artillery. And knowing the way the AI likes to play this game, he will almost certainly go for the APC, because he's a moron. Never change, Eagle, never change. Not getting much value out of my healing superpower. So you might be thinking, oh no, this is grim, how's he ever going to defeat a medium tank? He only has one light tank, which is going to get rinsed by this thing. And then a bunch of anti-airs, which are also pretty useless against it. Well, this is why artillery is so good. So I get to do half damage to it before it can even fight back. Now you're thinking, half damage is good, but how are you going to finish it off? Isn't it scary? Not really, because now all of my units that aren't strong against it are only taking half damage in return. If I'd opened with the tank, I would have lost about 8 tanks, or 7 tanks or something. But by the time he gets to counterattack, he's down to 3. So now I don't mind attacking with my anti-airs. They're useless. They did 1 point of damage, but we don't take any damage back because there's nothing left to shoot at us. Artillery. Fantastic. I mean, and rockets. Indirect fire, in general, is just so strong in this game. Which is why Grit is so strong, incidentally. That was unexpected. I'll explain that phenomenon in a later video as well. I gotta keep you hooked somehow. Don't you just want to know the secrets? Ooh. That thing clearly said 10%, and some of you have probably grasped what the percentages mean by now, even though I haven't explained it. And yet somehow that unit died when it had 2 health. How? How does that make any sense? Stay tuned, stay tuned. You know what, it's never going to get any better. This is a terrible, terrible use for hyper repair. I healed 2 units. One was missing 1 hit point, one was missing 2. That's a lot of medium tanks you're making. I keep calling them medium... Oh, they are called medium tanks. It's a strange name, because there is no heavy tank. Spoilers, but there isn't. That's it, medium tank is as heavy as it gets. There are tanks and medium tanks. Even tanks aren't called light tanks, as you'd suspect. Right, you shoot at this. First strike advantage should help. He's in the trees, we're on the road, so a little advantage back to him, but first strike advantage beats everything. You can handle 2 mechs, I'm sure. Get blasted into oblivion and then explode. Thank you. Well pointed out, whoever that was. I've forgotten. My memory's not great. I want to finish this thing off because I want to park my artillery where it's sat. So most likely outcome is that a medium tank comes here and shoots this. He could shoot it with the mech, which would actually hurt quite a bit. But then the medium tanks won't get through, so I wouldn't mind if he did that. This is fine. The mechs can't reach the artillery, they can only move 2 tiles. You see, tactics. I was actually planning. I thought this through, kind of. A little bit. More than usual. Look at the sweat on Eagle's brow. Look at that. He knows. He knows he's screwed. Do we fire here? We're going to get counterattacked by 4 tanks. Yeah, that's fine. You just have to imagine the missing tanks. Again, the mechs can't really do anything unless the tank moves out the way, which is nice. And next turn, my medium tanks will charge into the rescue. Oh, what am I doing with this thing? There's no planes left. No one has the ability to produce aircraft. And my missiles literally cannot attack the ground. I wish I had my transport copter. I miss it. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, equals double turn. I didn't plan for this. I'm still not that afraid of it. I'm a little afraid though, because that 10 medium tank is going to reach my artillery. Never mind. Thank you for the cover. So many questions. Number 1, why on earth would you block access to my own very vulnerable artillery? Number 2, why on earth, for what imaginable reason, did your mechs not attack? There is no reason for this not to attack this. It would do so much damage. They would use the bazookas. It would kill a good 6 of them. 7 maybe. The correct play is not to move the mechs there at all, to leave the gap open and come in with the medium tanks and blow it clean off the face of the map. But, I mean, moving the mechs in and attacking is fine. But moving the mechs in and then just doing nothing is terrible. I'm going to attack the fresh one. How has Orange Star not conquered this entire planet? If all the other generals are just this incompetent. It's unimaginable that we're struggling. That we were losing this war. Until I came along. There's still a tank over here, right? Yes, there is. I was going to run past and go for the HQ, but I actually can't, because if I step onto this bridge, the tank's going to meet me and block me. kind of frustrating. So I'm going to have to change my plan a bit. The mech again chose not to fight this artly. I mean, I'd give up trying to understand this guy. I have no clue what he's doing. He's borderline conceding with moves like this. It's like his army's moving around, waving a white flag instead of fighting back. I don't know what he's doing. Yeah, it's fine, just get in there. So we're going to go for the traditional win by wiping all the units off the map. I haven't said this explicitly, but in this game, there's two win conditions. One is capturing the HQ, which we talked about before. The other one is wiping everything off the map. Even if your opponent still has bases, still has an HQ, still has loads of money, the ability to produce 20 units next turn, doesn't matter. If ever, for a single moment in time, they just have nothing on the map at all, then they instantly lose. So sometimes you can catch people unawares like that. Not often, but sometimes. It's similar to some RTSs where you can lose instantly if you lose all of your buildings, even though you still got an army, which doesn't make much sense either. It's the other way around. You can still have all of your buildings, all of your infrastructure, loads of money, massive production capabilities, but if your one scout, which is your only unit, dies, it's just game over. But hey, good to know. Unlikely to come up. The AI generally builds units from every base every turn if it can, so... If you'll excuse me, I do believe this battle is over, my good man. I would appreciate your concede. With a seal, so I know it's from you. Maybe a few kisses on the bottom, to show there's no hard feelings. Whenever you're ready. And just to flex, I'm gonna heal before I attack. Usually you heal after you attack to recoup the damage, but I'm not going to take any damage. I don't know why I'm capturing this building either, but it's mine now. That was fun. Seems very unlikely I'm going to need these units, so I should probably not waste my time moving them. Oh, why would you build that? You're just slowing the game down. It's the worst thing you could possibly have built. I mean, it's the best thing you could possibly have built, but worse for me. Wait, you can reach here? I'm impressed. Sad thing is I could have killed this if I'd attacked with the AA at the start. Never mind, I can still kill it. Do I want to kill it? Do some maths with me, people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. An artillery can move 5 tiles over unimpeded terrain. 1, 2, 3, 4. He can move. Okay. Behold a tactic that you're going to see me use quite a lot, because it's a very powerful tactic. You may notice my opponent has a base, and I was debating if I want to destroy it, because now it's free, he can produce a new unit on it. However, if I do this, he can't build from that base, because that base is occupied, camped, overrun. I don't know what you want to call it. But because the base is not free, he cannot build from it. It doesn't appear near the base, it just is inaccessible. Strong turn. Right, random stranger that attacked me for no reason. You've been defeated. Hundreds of men have died on your orders. Yes, it's me. Hi. Okay. I defended myself. I know that's supposed to sound threatening, but it sounds like you're admitting you're going to lose even worse next time. Perhaps your whole nation's going to collapse. Maybe I'm going to kill you personally in battle, I'm not sure. That's Eagle. No told us, remember? Look at that speed rank. That's what we're here for. If I'd had my Teacopters, I would have got S for the speed, trust me. Rank me up. No? No, okay, never mind. Not good enough. I'll try better now, sorry. Just reclaiming all of your lost land. What is this pumping beat? This man means business. This man is high tempo, he's all action all the time. In that next video. Hopefully you'll join me for that, and I shall see you then.